power chords, electrifying riffs, and pure rock energy, AC/DC has been shaking the music world for over 5 decades. From their rebellious beginnings to becoming one of the best-selling bands of all time, their story is full of legendary moments. Ready to dive into some electrifying facts? The meaning behind their name. AC/DC took their name from a label on the back of a sewing machine used by Angus and Malcolm Young's sister, Margaret. The term stands for alternating current direct current, symbolizing their high-energy, electrifying music. Angus Young's schoolboy outfit. The iconic schoolboy uniform worn by lead guitarist Angus Young was inspired by a childhood prank. His sister Margaret suggested he wear it on stage, and it became his signature look, making him one of rock's most recognizable figures. Bon Scott wasn't their first singer. Before Bon Scott joined AC/DC in 1974, the band's original lead singer was Dave Evans. However, Evans's glam rock style didn't fit AC/DC's raw sound, and he was soon replaced by the legendary Scott. High Voltage had 2 versions. AC/DC's debut album, High Voltage, was originally released only in Australia in 1975. The international version, released in 1976, featured a different track list, combining songs from their first 2 Australian albums. They almost changed their name. After Bon Scott's tragic death in 1980, the band briefly considered renaming themselves, believing they couldn't continue without him. However, Scott's parents encouraged them to move forward, leading to the creation of Back in Black, the Back in Black tribute. The album Back in Black was a tribute to Bon Scott and remains one of the best-selling albums of all time. The title track's opening bells symbolize mourning, and the all-black cover was a mark of respect for their fallen singer. Malcolm Young's secret struggle. Rhythm guitarist Malcolm Young was the backbone of AC/DC's sound, but few knew he struggled with dementia for years before leaving the band in 2014. Despite his illness, he kept writing music and guiding the band's direction. Their music was once banned. In the 1980s, some religious groups claimed AC/DC's music had hidden satanic messages, mainly due to their song Highway to Hell. Some radio stations even banned their songs, but this only fueled their rebellious image. The biggest-selling rock album, Back in Black, has sold over 50 million copies worldwide, making it the second best-selling album of all time, only behind Michael Jackson's Thriller. It remains the highest-selling rock album ever. AC/DC and the Iron Man 2 soundtrack. In 2010, AC/DC's music was heavily featured in Iron Man 2, with the band releasing a compilation album of their greatest hits for the movie. Songs like Shoot to Thrill and Highway to Hell became synonymous with the film's energy. The loudest band in the world, AC/DC is known for their powerful live shows, and in 1980, they were listed in the Guinness World Records as one of the loudest bands ever. Their concerts have caused noise complaints even from miles away. Angus Young's never-ending energy. Even in his 60s, Angus Young continues to perform with the same high-energy moves he's had since the 70s. His famous duck walk, inspired by Chuck Berry, is still a staple of every AC/DC concert. Like the story? Subscribe and hit the like button to help me promote this video. A bizarre fan request. The band once received a fan letter asking if they could play at a wedding. Though they politely declined, they were amused by the thought of AC/DC providing the soundtrack to someone's big day. You Shook Me All Night Long was almost different. One of AC/DC's biggest hits, You Shook Me All Night Long, originally had different lyrics in its early versions. Brian Johnson made several last-minute changes, making the song the anthem it is today, the longest-running lineup. Despite multiple changes over the years, the core AC/DC lineup of Angus Young, Malcolm Young, Brian Johnson, Cliff Williams, and Phil Rudd lasted for decades, solidifying their legendary status. They once had an album delayed due to controversy. In 1983, Flick of the Switch was delayed because the band had fired their longtime producer Mutt Lange and decided to record it themselves. The album had a rawer sound, which divided fans. Still rocking after 5 decades, AC/DC has defied time, tragedy, and industry changes, continuing to tour and release music for over 50 years. Their 2020 album, Power Up, was a tribute to Malcolm Young and proved that their electrifying energy is still alive.